Hello, YouTubians. Today I want to discuss Lightning Returns, which is the third installment of the Fabula Nova Crystallis series, which started off with Final Fantasy XIII, and the direct sequel, Final Fantasy XIII-2. So this video is going to be more of like a collection of my ideas and opinions about what I think about Lightning Returns, and I really want to reminisce on from the Final Fantasy games from 13, but before I do, I want to talk about the title. Now, Lightning Returns. Does it bother anyone that the title sounds rather bland? A little bit too simple or unimaginative? I don't know, that's just me though. I think when I first saw Lightning Returns, I thought it was more of a teaser name for the screenshots and the gameplay footage that they were showing. Less to my surprise, they actually announced that this was going to be the title of the game. It's just a title, I know, but I think they could have done with a bit more of a creative name than Lightning Returns, but it summarizes what the game's about, I guess. So what I'm going to do is go back in chronological order about the Final Fantasy series, and we're going to go back down memory lane a bit. So Final Fantasy 13 was really the game that had a lot of hype and a lot of expectations to live up to, and for the most part I really did enjoy it. Brought a lot of new mechanics to the RPG series, which was actually needed in my opinion. Where I'm going to start is with story. The story was just okay. For me it was passable. It was rather mediocre in my opinion. There's a difference between trying to force feed you a story and then actually letting it unfold naturally, and for me it was more of the former rather than the latter, which was quite sad because I think that the story had some really good potential here. Along with the story was the characters. Again, they were just rather average to me. They did not have me just automatically click with them or emotionally attach with them. I did like Lightning, who was our main heroine, and I liked Fang and Saz, and that was pretty much it. The rest of the party, I could care less about them. Especially Vanille. God, does that woman doesn't she ever just shut up? And Hope was just this annoying kid. I really wish they'd kill his character or somehow. That might be kind of cruel. But again, there's some redemption factor there in the next game, which I'll talk about. The gameplay was great as well. I thought the active time battle segments that were used in the game were really well done. You know, you had to wait till the gauge clears and then you got your turn. I like that. Again, with the gameplay, it was rather linear. You know, you had to go to A, B, C, finish the game, that was it, and that put off a lot of people, and it did for me a little bit as well, but all in all I think it makes up for it. The graphics were sublime. They were absolutely beautiful. There's no wonder why Final Fantasy is a 3-disc game. There's no wonder whatsoever. It obviously pushed the graphical boundaries, and that's exactly what it did. The game just looks simply phenomenal. You can't beat it. You can't mark it down on the graphics ever. Music was great as well. I really liked it, and I really enjoyed the ending of it as well. It was a really typical happy ending, and you know that really isn't the case, because when you move on to 13-2, it's a completely different tone. Bear in mind that 13-2, you only get 2 characters in here. You get Noel and Sarah. I'm not including Mog because you can't use him, even though he's a flippin' adorable character. 2 characters. It's pretty much the same as 13. It just expanded. It really improved on a lot of things that 13 didn't necessarily do with the gameplay and the story and the character development and so on and so forth. So I really like this continuation. I didn't think I would, but I really did. The characters I had more of an emotional attachment to, more so than 13. The story again is a little bit too muddy for me and a little bit too overcomplicated. They could have simplified it and it would have been a lot more tangible, a little bit more understandable. But again, it improved on the story in so many different ways. The non-linearity of it, how you can time travel via the Historia Crux, which was really neat. Graphics were identical, beautiful and amazing. It's, you know, you expect nothing less. It's a Square Enix game. Gameplay is identical. Only thing that hacked me off was the ending. I really did not like the ending. I've made a mention of this in a passing video as well. It really did piss me off because when you came to the ending, it made the story feel almost obsolete. It almost made it feel worthless, because you've done all this hard work to try and change the future, but in the end you accomplished nothing, and that's really what was the hard pill for everyone to swallow. So it's a 50-50 thing. It's a harsh mistress, and it's also a good thing, and it took a while for me to adapt to, but I got over it eventually, and that's why I think it is a very good continuation from 13. And for me, I think this is where the story arc should have ended. I think they could have ended everything with the sequel, but they chose not to, and apparently there's a whole debacle about them trying to make you purchase the actual canon ending for this, which I think was complete rubbish. You know, you shouldn't be charging people for that, but they didn't, I don't think so. Thank you, Square Enix. It's not out of the ordinary for Final Fantasy to have a direct sequel. Final Fantasy X-2 did it with Final Fantasy X. A lot of people didn't like it. I enjoyed it. I sure as heck enjoyed it. Little nitpicky things I don't like, but all in all, I really liked it. So Lightning Returns. I'm not going out of my way crazy about it. I really am not going crazy about it at all. Yet I think it looks kind of good. So for me, it's a warm reception. Lightning is a great character. I think she can more than hold her own in her own video game. I think she's got more than enough personality. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Lightning almost reminds me of Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot of similarities in their characterization. They've got this aloofness, cold-hearted, mercenary feel about them, but yet underneath it all, there's a lot of heart about them, and that's what I like about her character. Cloud and Lightning, but in this case Lightning. That's why I really like her character. And apparently it's got like this whole mechanic about her getting resurrected after 500 years from her crystal stasis and trying to save the world in 13 days. That sounds cool, but again, we're seeing that in 13.2. We can time travel through Historia Crux, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. I think they're going to have a hard time with the gameplay as well, because you can only use Lightning in this game. No news on other characters just yet. I hope they introduce more characters, because I don't want the gameplay to feel stale in any way. I think it needs to feel fresh and relevant. And I don't think you're going to get that from one character. I wouldn't mind seeing Hopeless. Okay, I'll stop calling him Hopeless, but Hope. He's much better in 13.2, but I just could not stand that kid. He just annoyed me. And Snow, I wouldn't mind him seeing return as well. He wasn't a bad character at all. Just your typical macho hero type of person. But yeah, that's what I think about Lightning Returns. It's 50-50 for me. I'm not absolutely gushing about it, but I'm still going to pick it up because I love Square Enix games. I'm really, really sorry, Square Enix. I really do love your games, but I think you could have ended the series off really, really well if you just included Lightning's story arc and finished it in 13.2. There's no need to make a third game. For me, it's sounding more of like an executive business decision more so than fan service, even though there are a lot of people who like Lightning. So that's what I think. What do you guys feel about it? Do you think Lightning can hold her own in her own video game? Do you think she has more than enough character? Are you guys excited for the release of Final Fantasy, which is due at the end of third quarter of 2013? I don't know. Get back to me. You can leave your comments in the section below. I shall see you in my next video, which will be sooner rather than later, I hope. So I hope to see you next time, and I'm going to bed now.